Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everybody. Today I shall be discussing about marital conflicts and how to handle marital conflicts. Regrettable incidents are inevitable in every relationship. Even if you have the best, most happiest and joyful relationship, there you will be facing some amount of regrettable incidents in the form of conflicts. And according to research, most conflicts usually arise not because of money or family, but because of no particular reason. So there is absolutely nothing, or there is no specific reason why marital conflicts tend to occur, or most of the marital conflicts tend to occur. A woman's anger can be rooted in one of three causes, and they are feeling of powerlessness or power a feeling of powerlessness, and when she feels that she is being unjustly treated, and lastly, when she feels that people are being irresponsible. So these are the three main reasons in which a woman's anger can be rooted. So living with your spouse will not always be about love, romance, and passion. There will be issues, and when your spouse brings up an issue, it is important that you do not get defensive. Usually, when a woman is hurting or is in pain over something, she might express that hurt or that pain in the form of criticism. So in such an instance, the job of a husband is to understand the underlying cause of her pain, or the underlying issue that is being expressed in the form of criticism. And in order to get to the root cause, a husband can ask these three questions, which will help him better understand the underlying cause. And those three questions are: what do you need? Secondly, what are you feeling, or how are you feeling? And lastly, what are you concerned about? By asking these three questions, the husband will be better able to understand what his wife is going through, and thereby he can address the issue. Usually, if a wife is criticizing you or complaining, beneath or underneath that, she wants to feel safer, closer, and trust you more. During a conflict, most men experience what is referred to as emotional flooding, during which their heart rates tend to go up, and and not only that, they during this phase of emotional flooding, their judgment gets clouded. And in a situation, it is ever so important that the husband or the man apply or resort to one of these three strategies to calm himself down and to self-soothe. So the number one thing, a man or anybody who is experiencing anger, and in order to control their anger, the number one thing is to breathe in deeply and exhale slowly. Deep breathing reduces your heart rate and lowers your blood, and also at the same time it lowers your blood pressure. The second strategy, in order to calm yourself down, is to count till 10. And lastly, in a conflict situation where the man is experiencing emotional flooding, what what I would recommend the man do is take a break. uh, it is important that when you do take a break, you say something to the effect of, you know what, I'm having a hard time listening to you right now, so I will come back in 30 minutes so that we can continue to talk. And by taking this break in a conflict situation, the man is able to calm himself down, relax, thereby the anger that he is experiencing during that conflict will not result in him saying something uh, in a fit of anger, which might cause further problems. So, whenever there is this conflict situation where the tempers are rising, it is better for the husband or the wife to take a break. But before you take a break, you should mention to your spouse that you need to take a break and that you will be back. And the reason being because you're not able to listen or you're not able to think clearly. And during that break, when you take a break during a conflict situation in order to calm yourself down, it is important that you think about a distraction. Like, for instance, you can think about a tennis game, or you could think about your favorite dessert, or you could think about a place that you've always wanted to visit. So, by thinking about a distraction, you are able to calm yourself down. But it is ever so important that that when you do take a break, you're not thinking about the shortcomings or flaws of your spouse, but rather a distraction which has nothing to do with your conflict, and you will be able to calm yourself down soon. One additional thing I would like to add is the way you respond to your wife in times when there is no conflict, and the quality of friendship between you and your wife will make your wife less critical and more likely to give you the benefit of the doubt when conflicts do arise. So, investing in a non conflict time is like money in the bank and will make conflicts go smoother and less frequently. During a conflict or a misunderstanding, we should always try to reaffirm our love for our spouse, and you should mention that your anger or your behavior is separate from your love for her. And more than a man, a woman will be constantly and regularly hit by unresolved emotional issues or hurts from a conversation or a concern last night, last month, or maybe even 10 years ago. So, when a wife brings up a relationship problem to discuss, like I mentioned before, it is important to not get defensive. We should try seeing this as a joint solving session instead of a personal attack on you. Usually, when your wife is upset, she needs a hug more than she needs space or time. And you might be thinking that she is unwilling of letting go of an issue, but the thing is, most women find it very difficult or maybe even impossible to close out and ignore unwanted thoughts and feelings, which means advising her to just forget about it will not help. So, if she does bring up an old issue, it doesn't mean that she's holding on to an old grudge, but she's actually trying to process an underlying issue so that she can resolve it and let it go. So, what you can do is encourage your spouse to deal with these issues by talking them through and listening to her. And if there is an unresolved issue, such as a conflict with a boss or even an old hurt, then that's the right time to step up and give and lend her a listening ear, a hug, and reassurance. The next thing we will be talking about is listening. Listening is a very important aspect of a happy marriage. When your wife expresses her concerns, you have to make sure that you're listening. And the way you do that is by physically turning towards her. And when you do, make sure that you are not on your smartphone or watching TV. When she does express her inner feelings about an incident, acknowledge, affirm, and sympathize with her feelings. Remember that she doesn't want you to fix the problem. She just wants to share what she is feeling, and she wants to feel understood. Most women process their thoughts and feelings by talking about them. So just being able to share what is going on actually fixes something for the woman. That is important, irrespective of whether you agree or don't, that you do not dismiss her feelings. Never tell her that she is overreacting, or tell her that, or never question her version of the facts. When you don't agree or when you have opposing viewpoints, don't tell her that she's wrong, but rather what you can say is that that's more interesting, tell me more. And after listening, you could respond with interest, and you could say, okay, here is my viewpoint. But when you present your point of view, do not do it in a manner where you're dismissing or devaluing her position or her feelings. So for most women, even a 15-minute walk, a few evenings a week would totally fill their need. And listening is a very powerful tool of telling your wife that she is truly loved. The next thing we will be talking about is lowering your gaze. If a woman sees a husband looking at other women, she ceases, or she ceases to feel special, and she starts to feel that she is in competition with the world, including for the attentions of the man that she thought she already had. I mean, let's admit it. For many, a woman whose husband doesn't control his looking and lusting, that woman will start to feel like a failure, and she will feel like she doesn't measure up to what her husband wants. So women usually, what happens is they usually experience an excruciating amount of pain if their husbands look at and lust after another woman or another female, and their trust in their man, or more specifically their trust in their man's love, gets badly shaken. Which brings me to the next problem a lot of couples these days are facing, which is that of internet pornography. When a husband uses internet porn or internet pornography, your wife feels uh, like he is cheating on her. And if truth be told, I think the husband is indeed cheating if he is viewing internet pornography, because by looking at a thrill elsewhere, such as at another woman or internet pornography, we are injuring our wives, since we vowed to look for the thrill only in her. And I guess we, at the same time, we shatter our ability to reflect her beauty back to her, and we break her trust by looking at other women, or by viewing by viewing the pornography on internet. And one of the an example that comes to my mind is that of the MVP center for San Antonio Spurs, who was approached by a woman who wanted to talk to him, but he would brush them off. When asked about this seemingly rude practice, he would comment by saying, "If any woman is going to get her feelings hurt, it's not going to be my wife." The next thing I'm going to be talking about is emotional security. Emotional security is very important for a wife to feel secured and loved. So, what do I mean by emotional security? I guess the number one thing that emotional security entails is that your spouse or your wife uh, wants to feel that you two are close. So she wants to feel that the two of you are close, and to create that sense of closeness between the two of you uh, is very important for your wife. She wants to be your love and to be your best friend, and she wants to know that she is yours and you are hers. And to make your spouse feel secured and loved, it is the little things that count. Like, for instance, when you reach for your spouse's hand in a parking lot, or calling her by a special nickname that's just between the two of you. So it's these little things that help her feel secure and loved. And also, when she sees that you make spending time together a priority. The third factor that is a part of emotional security is when she feels you are committed to her. And one way, I guess, of demonstrating your commitment is by verbally expressing your love to her. And another aspect of emotional security is when she sees that you are active in the life of the home. And what I mean by that is, women feel secure when their husbands actively participate in the life of the home, and they actively take part in helping with the chores at the home. And the last part of emotional security is when she sees that you make an effort to provide for the family. It's not so much about the amount of money, but rather it's what matters to most women is just seeing that you're putting in the effort. So these are some of the factors that are a part of emotional security. And emotional security is very important for your wife to feel secured and loved. The next thing I will be talking about is accepting your spouse's influence. It is important for the husband and the wife to let their spouse influence their decision making capacity, or to let their spouses influence their decision. What the data suggests is that wives usually um, let their husbands influence their decisions, but the husbands do not reciprocate that, and do not let their wives influence their decisions. So, and happiest and the stable marriages are those in which husbands did not resist decision making with their wives. So, happy marriages are where the husband and the wife actively searched for common ground whenever there are any disputes, rather than just insisting on getting their way. A majority of men usually do not acknowledge their wife's feelings, and do not take their wife's opinions into consideration, which may lead to instability in a marriage. The wives of men who accept their influence are far less likely to be harsh with their husbands when addressing a difficult marital topic. And this increases the odds that the marriage will thrive. Often in life, the way I like to look at it is, usually in life you need to yield to win. And when you are on, let me give you an example. For instance, if you are on your way back home from work and you come across an obstacle, what you can do is you can either stop and insist that the obstacle move out of the way, and alternatively you can also drive around the obstacle. So the second approach, in this case, will get you to your destination. Similarly, yielding to win is a principle which can be applied to a marriage, and whenever there is a conflict, the key is to be willing to compromise. And the way you can do that is by searching through your partner's request for something that you can agree upon. And if you feel you have any difficulty accepting influence, if you feel that you have difficulty accepting your spouse's influence while making your decisions, then the first step is to acknowledge this tendency that you have and talk about it with your spouse, which will be a big step forward. The next is to work with your spouse to overcome this problem. Being able to accept your spouse's influence will help you handle marital conflicts better. And that brings us to the end of our video. I hope that this video will help couples create a secure, lasting bond based on affection, compromise, love, and empathy. I would really appreciate if you click the like button below and subscribe to my channel, because I shall be posting more videos on marriage in the future, inshallah, Allah willing. So I will see you all soon. Take care.